GamingBolt presents 15 games that will destroy your friendships. Controllers and wallets aren't the only things video games are capable of breaking. As anyone who's played local or online multiplayer will tell you, friendships are often a casualty of playing games. Coordination with friends isn't always something that comes easily to people, and when you have to do it in a video game, it becomes nearly impossible. In this feature, we're going to take a look at 15 games that are more than capable of destroying even the most precious of your friendships. Mario Kart. Mario Kart is a pretty competitive game owing to its very nature, but Nintendo does everything it possibly can to make it even more so. When you play against a friend though, the game can send you into a murderous fit of rage, especially if your friend hits you with a blue shell 3 inches before the finish line. FIFA and PES. Anyone who's played FIFA and PES and claims they haven't tortured their friends over it is lying. We've all done it. Refusing to skip the replays, wasting time with our goalkeepers, using ridiculously defensive formations. And, of course, the classic, winning a match in the very last minute with a stupidly lucky header. The fact that you get to celebrate like a jackass in front of your friends makes it even better, though it does your friendship no favors. Guitar Hero and Rock Band. It's no fun when you have to constantly pull the weight of one or more bandmates who are terrible at what they do. Imagine pulling off perfect combos and absolutely ripping into a song when the drummer or vocalist screws up even the simplest of things. It's all fun and games when you're all learning together, but pros know the frustration of having to contend with untalented bandmates all too well. Wii Sports. It's not that Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort are particularly tough games, or that you can get ridiculously competitive while playing them. I mean, sure, you could get competitive, but what happens when you're about to swing your golf club with all the vigor you have, and the Wiimote slips out of your hand and buries itself into your friend's TV screen? If that doesn't put a strain on your friendship, what will? Tekken. Tekken, along with most other fighters, owing to its very nature, invokes a competitive force in you every time you play it, and it becomes even fiercer when you're playing with a friend. There's also the fact that this has always been a series with loads of complex mechanics all working together, so if you go up against a friend who's much better at it than you are, you'll eventually end up wanting to beat them in real life the way you never could in the game. Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat bodes fierce competition for a lot of the reasons that something like Tekken does as well, and lopsided matches against people who are much less or much more skilled than you are can be quite frustrating, depending on which side you're on. Then you mix in special abilities each of the characters have, many of which can often give players unfair advantages, as well as the fatalities, and the game becomes a breeding ground for broken hearts and broken fences. Super Smash Bros. Not only does Super Smash Bros. Have the same inherent competitive factor that all fighting games do, it also is characterized by the kind of chaotic and outlandish mechanics you would see in a series like the previously mentioned Mario Kart. Thanks to overpowered items, lucky hits, excellently designed maps, and just pure chaos all across the screen, Super Smash Bros. Makes for an excellent party game, at least until someone loses their cool and starts using down B in real life. Farmville. This is how friendships are broken. This is how the count of your friends on your Facebook profile goes from the hundreds to tens within days. We all have that 1 or 20 friend, the person who is constantly sending you requests to play the game or take part in some activity. You politely ignore it the first 10 times, but after 1,000 notifications, can you really be blamed for deciding that you'd rather block the person than having to contend with the constant spam? Mario Party. Like all other Nintendo games on this list, Mario Party brings out the worst in you. Sure, it's garbed as a kid-friendly game that is supposed to be great during parties, but don't be fooled. This is a game that will make you rejoice in backstabbing your friends, a game that will make you scream in their faces if things go wrong for you. 1 second, you're having a great time with Mario Party, but before you know it, your blood pressure goes up to lethal levels. Halo. Halo is a game that is as well known for its single player as it is for its multiplayer, but during the competitive online matches, playing with your friends can be a dangerous thing to do. You don't know how skilled they are in relation to you. If they're too good, you can be in for a whooping. If they're too bad, all you can do is hope that you don't end up on the same team. Battletoads. Battletoads is the kind of game that can help you realize how much of a burning hatred you have for one of your friends. Playing it by yourself can evoke that same hatred in you for yourself, but when you're playing it with friends and one of them screws up, and let's face it, one of them will screw up, the game counts on that, and you're forced to do the entire thing all over again for the umpteenth time. You can't help but start questioning the foundation of your friendship. Clash Royale. Clash Royale is, by its very nature, a game that puts cooperation above all else, given its focus on forming and building up clans. But when you get into the friendly battles mode, you realize that it's got a deeper, darker secret. Playing those 1v1 or 2v2 matches shouldn't really be as competitive as it is, given the fact that there's no real rewards or perks for winning those matches. But boy oh boy, can these matches lead to some fiery competitions. World of Warcraft. People can get ridiculously invested in World of Warcraft, and why not? Once you've spent hundreds of hours on questing and collecting the best possible loot and equipment to turn your characters into an absolute beast, such investment makes perfect sense. Which is why when a player who either doesn't care as much and just isn't as good begins to jeopardize your progress on, say, a quest you're both tackling together, it can lead to frightening fury. Of course, once you've spent dozens of hours playing World of Warcraft, you may not want to be bogged down by real-world responsibilities such as friendships anyways. Spelunky. Spelunky is no walk in the park when you're playing it alone, but when you're playing the game in co-op, it turns into the most frightening thing on the face of this planet. It requires coordination between you and your friend on all levels, be it reviving or platforming or skill in general. Failing, of course, means you have to do the entire thing all over again, and after the 10th restart, you may start wondering why you were even friends with this person in the first place. Hidden Agenda. Hidden Agenda's competitive online mode very blatantly tells you that its objective is to create conflict between you and your friends. The game gives one of the players a secret objective, while the other players have to figure out what that objective is and try to stop it from happening. As you can imagine, the very point is to create conflict, but the cost of having a good time is often a ruined friendship, and if you're not prepared to pay that price, you are too weak for video games. And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at GamingBolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.